that, so I'm not going to even focus on that. So the reason why I hopped on here, prior to me going into the topic matter, so I'm a lifestyle business coach as well as a digital marketing strategist, and over the past couple of weeks I've been responding to Ask Me Anything newsfeed. So what that is basically is it's an opportunity for people to pose questions to people who have specialized in specific areas, or you just feel like you want to contribute to a cause where you're helping other people as well. So the question that I had, and I've got numerous questions, and I picked one. And the question I got goes something like this. Do you think success and failure are all about one's mindset? How can a woman who always finds herself failing change the way she sees herself? So this question was based on life vision planning and asking people that this is my experience of what life vision planning has been like. And as you're hopping on here, feel free to say hello and let me know where you're checking in from, so I can see Kevin that has also logged in. Thanks for joining. So the question is, do you think success and failure are all about mindset? And my belief is yes. So over, I'd say 2 years, I had been coaching numerous people, over 300 people through, they were aspiring entrepreneurs as well as small business owners looking to establish themselves online. And the experience that I had on this was that most of the people were motivated to want to transition and change their lifestyle. So that was the first initial emotion, was to wanting to change their lifestyle. But as they got into the learning process and also wanting to move beyond what they were used to in terms of like their career, then it became a mindset challenge. So in entrepreneurship, this is one of the things that most people forget. So you might go into business thinking that it's more of the technical aspects and other factors like the financial, but most of the times you will find that the higher percentage, it's all in relation to mindset. So it's how our minds have been, I would say it's, I want to use the word grooming, but I don't know if that's the appropriate word to do, but it's something about how your mind has developed over time. Yes, it's better to use the word developed. So it's how your mind has been developed from when you were younger to being grown up. So what did you grow up believing in terms of personal development, and also in outward looking in terms of self-belief? Okay, so some of us grow up hearing lots of narratives. So some of those narratives can either positively propel us towards achieving anything that we want to achieve in life and give us that little bit of like confidence to be able to do that. And then there's some of us who then grow up believing with self-limiting beliefs due to our community surrounding or due to the things that we hear in our family that are imposed on us, and then we grow up believing that this is the accurate reflection of who we are, and only to discover that actually no, that's not who we are. It's more about the self-limiting beliefs that we've inherited. So I don't believe, and hello for anybody else who's joining, do let me know where you're checking in from and who you are so that I can say hello. Yeah, so I don't believe that there's such thing as failure. It's more about life lessons. So those life lessons would then open us up to who we could potentially become in the future or in the now. Okay, so when we look at it as life lessons, it's taking away what you have learned from that experience. What have you learned? And then what can you take forward from it, rather than living with regret? Because as we know, regret doesn't bring us anything. It only causes stress. It only causes anxiety. But it's more about thinking of, and I'll say hello to Smiley from, oh, it's Karen from Maryland. I used to live there. Thanks for joining. So I used to think in terms of, oh, I'm failing at something, but it wasn't actually failing. And then you get the overwhelm and you get daunted by life experiences. But it's not necessarily failure, it's more about the life lessons. And then so when you start to develop your mind, and it takes time, because as when we're younger, we are influenced by so many factors. We're influenced by family, we're influenced by our school upbringing, by the community upbringing, and so much more that influences our mindset. So if you've grown up in a mindset where it's been limiting, you won't know that until you grow up and you're trying so many things, and then you find out, why can't I do certain things, or why am I preventing myself? So when those questions start to come, that's when you have the opportunity to then change your narrative. Okay, so your narrative does not need to remain permanent. Like, for instance, I used to think that I was shy, and it's because I changed schools over time, and then I became reserved in introducing myself or getting to know people. So I adapted that narrative, and then people around me started saying I was shy. And I lived with that. And so when opportunities came, I felt like I couldn't vocalize what I wanted to say, because I either thought that I didn't have like the intellectual mindset. For some reason I connected it to intellect, or that my voice didn't count for some reason. So that I assumed. But then over time, I started to change that narrative, because it was a narrative that I gave myself based on my surrounding and based on me as an upbringing as well. So you can relate to that. Yes, thanks for contributing. So we assume those roles, but it doesn't necessarily mean that it has to be permanent. We can change it and we can take control over it. So part of that is about developing through learning. And one of the things that I did was I started to challenge myself. When I heard the words I am shy, I changed the meaning of it to something else. It was more about, who did I see in the future? Who did I visualize? And was that person shy? So in terms of your life vision, is it very clear? So in my life vision, I saw myself, thanks for joining. So in my life vision, I saw myself being on stage and speaking to people. But in my reality, I saw myself being fearful. So I feared about, oh my goodness, I was going to make so many mistakes. There was no way I could be on stage and speak to so many people. I would make so many errors. And even being on live, I just thought, oh my goodness, I don't like my voice. I don't like how I look. So all these narratives that go on are to challenge us. They present themselves for a reason. They're not necessarily valid. And I also believe that nerves are a good thing, because nerves are working you to who you ultimately need to be. So in my vision, I saw myself standing on the stage. And could I do it? Yes, I could do it. Could the nerves come? Yes, they would come. So just think about it as the analogy of like jumping on the plane. Once you're up there, you jump. You have no other option, especially if you're in the back of somebody and they've pushed you. There's no way of coming back up again. So it's the same analogy in your life, is that when you go on stage, and I can see the likes, so it's something that probably resonates with you. So when you go on stage, if that's part of your life vision, whatever it is in your life vision, it's thinking about, yes, this will happen, but what is the worst that could happen if you actually do not step on that stage? So it's challenging yourself in those moments, asking yourself the most difficult questions and thinking about what is the reason you're doing it for that is beyond you. So think about beyond yourself. Who do you want to be able to help? Who do you want to be able to actually make a greater impact? And often people will say, I want to be able to help my family. I want to be able to help my children. But does that actually bring you enough emotion to drive you forward? Does it push you forward enough? And I often find that's the easiest thing that we can say. But then you can also take it another step further and look at, is there a greater cause that you want to be able to give to in life? Okay, so let me know your own experiences as well, and feel free to share. So when you think about a greater cause, I'll give you an example. for some reason, one day I just thought about, I used to work in for local government within the UK, and I also used to work for charitable organization, and something in my mind said, there is something more I could be doing, there's something more I could be contributing to, but I could never pinpoint it. And then that thing just came and showed me a vision, and that vision was connected to where my family are originally from, and that's Malawi. So I saw young girls and I saw women, and that's who I wanted to be able to help, and that's who I connected with. So I followed that life vision, and I still follow it today. So that life vision brings emotion. It draws me to moving forward. So it's something, even if it's your family, but just ensure that it's something that will emotionally drive you and steer you regardless of what people say, regardless of the experiences that you go through. Because when I look at the young children and the young girls, I think about being grateful. I think about my own situation in terms of where I am now, that I'm fortunate to actually, those small things that we take for granted, like having electricity without even thinking about it, water without even thinking about it, being connected 24/7. And then sometimes I feel like I'm going to die, not literally, but if I'm not connected via social media or any other platform, or not having my phone. But these are just the smallest things. So when I look at that and it's emotive, then anything that you try in life to end off with, then it becomes simpler, because you're thinking about your greater why and your reason, your purpose that's emotionally driving you. So the failure doesn't exist. You're more driven to succeed in life. Your mind then changes to the mindset that you will be relentless regardless. It turns into an entrepreneurship mindset that is continuously wanting to evolve, innovate, help others, add value in other people's lives before you take for yourself. So the more, or you want to go to Nigeria to help the hungry, that's great, that's fantastic. So that is something that you feel emotively connected to, that you want to be able to help and serve others beyond you. So that is probably something then that will steer you towards your life vision. So anything that you do now going forward, whether it be in your career, whether it be as an entrepreneur, then it's something that you think about the greater cause, the greater reason why. So any voices that you hear along the way, those voices will start to minimize, especially if it's something that in your gut and in your vision you see yourself actually doing it. Because the voices that we hear often are voices that are awakening us to ourselves. And you will find that the more you're emotively connected, the likelihood is that those voices become smaller and smaller. And then you're ready to take yourself to jump off the plane. Not that I'm actually going to do it ever, but you get the point. It's never say never anyway, but it's that drive that steers you regardless of to do whatever it takes. Okay, so somebody asked me a question, what motivates you to do whatever it takes? That's what motivates you. So I hope that from what you've shared as well, that your vision of going to Nigeria is something that motivates you regardless of anything. So you're not bound, you're not tied by money, you're not tied by other people. Nobody's controlling your life vision, your life path, but you are sitting in the forefront and driving that and steering the wheel no matter what, and you're being relentless through that. So that was the question. So I'm going to end off here, and I'm going to thank you for joining me. And the question that somebody did ask was, do you think success and failure are all in one's mindset? And yes, definitely. I believe it's about mindset, and there's a way that we can move and push through it in order to ultimately achieve what we want to achieve in life. So I want to thank you as well, Marian, from joining, and also any other ladies. I see Hernandez who has joined as well. So until next time, and I'm wishing you all the success in life. Thank you very much. Bye for now.